We go. We are recording.
Yay! You did it, Sherry. Awesome.
We are all into different challenges and overcoming them in many different ways.
Absolutely.
Right.
So welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Sherry and I are just so honored to be able to host once again this Habits of Health workshop with you. We very much feel that we are partners together creating a community of health, and that health is built one habit at a time. And we will be utilizing in our workshop Dr. Anderson's Living a Longer, Healthier Life workbook. I hope that everybody was able to get a hold of that after last week's discussion, and if you have not, I know, Sherry, were you able to scan a couple of the pages?
We just got a new printer, so that's my homework for next week.
Okay, so no worries. So we'll talk about it, and in the future, we're overcoming some of our tech challenges here, but we will scan pages that are relevant and share them on the screen. So those of us who are joining us with a computer and can see what's happening, you'll be able to see the workbook page that we're working on as well. All right, Sherry, where's our little
so yeah, we
just for the evening.
Right.
Oh, here it is.
Wanted it, yeah.
Right in front of me.
Quickly, go over, last week in terms of we're all have goals that we want to set here, and I think in a group setting to help achieve them together. We're all look at health as we're being proactive about achieving our health goals. We're not just like tossing a coin and leaving it up here, and that's coming together. That's really going to put that more into fruition, and I think that helps no matter at what level that we're at, in the program. I think that we all agree about that. And a lot of people wait till just like even today, I had someone who told me they were just diagnosed with like a high cholesterol, and it's unfortunate that we wait until that type of point to really do something about our health. When all we had to do is if it was just a few steps before that, if we realize we pick up those cues that we're in that in-between state, we're not in the sick state, we're in the non-sick state, we can really do something and make a difference about our health. I don't believe anybody in this room wants to be on medications if they don't need to be. Hopefully, if they are, it's something that's reversible. And that's what we're hoping to live a longer, healthier life. And I'm sure everyone would agree who doesn't want to be healthier and feel good, energetic. I'm sure everyone would be nodding their heads in agreement. Right?
And something when Sherry and I were talking about just going over goals and going over, what is the thing pushing us, our personal why to want to work on our habits, a lot of times it's because suddenly your doctor's threatening you with medication, your blood pressure is up, or I'm just watching the scale go in the wrong direction, and I know that's my wake-up call. And I'm reading Brene Brown, who I highly recommend if anybody's looking for a great motivational read. And she says in the beginning of her book something very powerful. She said, the universe is not short on wake-up calls, but we're all really good at pressing the snooze button. So we don't want to press the snooze button. We want to hear our wake-up calls. We want to react to them and gather together, building the community like we are this evening, in now discussing our goals and moving forward in how we can attack those habits one habit at a time to create a reality of health versus reacting to or being predisposed to disease.
We also might go into this, a lot of times I think most of us, if not all of us, probably went into this program because we wanted to, quote, lose weight for different reasons, right? Some of us just at a certain age, when I think for me it was around the time I turned 40, or maybe someone has a wedding or bar mitzvah, graduation, what have you. Everyone has a different reason. And that could be something that we go into the program with. And then ultimately, as we work through the program and work through our healthy habits, we realized that we want more than just losing weight. We want to have permanent long-term health, and addressing that from a much more positive, standpoint. as opposed to the negative. I always remember Frida Keller in one of her calls, and I always remember her distinct Louisiana accent. You know, it's not take shape for the wedding, it's not take shape for the it's take shape for life. You know, so when you say that, you can kind of, that's like a good mnemonic device. At least for me, I always hear Frida saying that because it just cracks me up to hear her do that. And you know, whatever works for you. A lot of times we'll have those types of things that help us remind us on a daily basis of where we want to be and why. And I think we all have goals maybe we want to work on. If we all either want to, you know, say it to ourselves or write it down, what our health goals are, I think that's something really good to like start out with. If we want to go around the room, or I think that maybe everyone just wants to kind of write down what their health goals are and then like make that commitment to where they want to be, whether they have, you know, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, where they want to see themselves. And if that's too much of a stretch, maybe start with just tomorrow, right? Sometimes it's hard for us to stick to a program in the beginning. Sometimes we're getting back on the plan. We could be all different phases of the program. And sometimes it's hard no matter what stage you are. But when we write that down, we have that affirmation of where we want to be, and we write it down, and we have that to look back at. And that can be really helpful for us getting through the difficult stages, right? And as we're writing down what our goals are, maybe we should start talking about our habits.
Okay, so what healthy habits do you intend to adopt as you work towards your healthy goals? Anybody have a specific habit that they want to share that they would like to, you know, start focusing on? We all have them. We have good habits and we have bad habits. Identifying them and then thinking about what habits do I really want to work on is always the first step in moving forward. And that's really how, you know, how Dr. A starts chapter 2 of the Habits of Health. And an example that he gives is very often for those of us who would watch a movie, watch TV, we'll sit down and we'll watch a movie and we'll get a bowl of popcorn. And that becomes our habit. And then popcorn, oh God, I'm all tongue-tied.
Association.
TV means eating popcorn. It doesn't matter if we're hungry or we're not hungry. We wouldn't think. I know when I went to the movies as a teenager, I wouldn't think of walking into that theater without holding my extra large bucket of tons of pumps of butter on top of it, popcorn. That became my habit. And I really had to learn how I could enjoy a movie without enjoying popcorn with it. Food always went with every activity. There's a reason that I have the eating issue that I have and that I've worked so hard to overcome. So that's just an example. What do you guys, does anybody want to share a habit that you have that you would really like to develop strategies for overcoming while we're on our journey here?
One habit I'm trying to establish is removing the stumbling blocks, you know, the triggers or just landmines in the path to a healthy habit, and just trying to move the, especially tired, stressed, anxiety, whatever it is, so get it out of the path to the extent where I'll move the kids' snack food downstairs in a separate cupboard, and it's out of my normal pathway, and just trying the extra tools to to work the program.
It's excellent because you stopped, you identified what is my stumbling block. I can't not go in the kitchen. I walk through the house. I open the mail in the kitchen. I talk on the phone in the kitchen. I socialize with my family in the kitchen, and those cabinets call to me. But can I create a strategy to make the kitchen a safer place for me, knowing that I'm still going to be tired, I'm still going to be stressed? And I think it's incredible, that you were able to develop a strategy to then move those trigger foods out of the kitchen, which not everybody's,
The other one is an old one, but I think the more kinetic activity, the more activities throughout the day that remind us to stay on the program, the one that's so easy because just life passes us by, the day just passes us by, is really try to be mindful of journaling, whether it's, you know, entering it into the Take Shape for Life app or the My Fitness app. There's so many that you can journal. Sometimes the easiest thing is just to keep a little pocket notebook next to your desk drawer or in your pocket or whatever, and no excuses. Not like, you know, the battery ran out or I can't get any Wi-Fi here. Just the more kinetic activity, the more mindfulness, I think the better it is.
So I think that's great. What can that journaling, if you're developing that habit, where can that replace maybe a different habit?
I'd like to jump in on that one. It's Sasha, and I love the suggestion of journaling, and I've been using writing as a tool to go to, instead of, I mean, the goal is to write about something that's making me anxious or stressed instead of defaulting to eating something. So that's something that when I do it, I find it really useful because for so many years, my pattern has been I feel stressed, I go eat something. I feel angry, I go eat something. But if I write about it, it gets it out and it airs it out, and it really, I find, relieves a lot of my tension. It gets it out of my head.
Right. That sounds it sounds like it's really helping you doing that. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
So I think it also brings down something also important, that when is the last time that we sat down and evaluated whether, you know, our daily choices that we make all during the day are bringing the type of results that we really want to see most. Because there's definitely goals and things that we want to do, and a lot of us say we know what we need to do, but we're not doing it, right? Isn't that like typical? You know, how many people have experienced that? That's, you know, a lot of people said from the get-go, I know what I need to do, I don't know, I'm just not doing it. So it's taking that one extra step and really analyzing, you know, what do I want, and what are my daily steps, like on a regular basis, like what am I doing? If I want to get here, what am I doing that's going to get me to accomplish those goals? And is that something that we're going to make a reality, or are we just going to stay where we're at? Because if we don't make those daily action steps, we're never going to get to those goals. So it's really taking a step back and really examining, you know, who we are, what are we doing, which is a part of being mindful and making those choices. Then we have to decide again, is our life a reaction, or is it something that we're being proactive? So this is a very proactive exercise that we can do, that we can remind ourselves where we want to be. And this is part in really taking control over your life, not just letting life happen, right? We often say in Take Shape for Life that we want to organize our life around the things that matter to us most. And this can be taken in so many different ways, right? Whether it's from a losing weight standpoint, a health standpoint, mental health, financial, really it's like a whole encompassing thing. So when we really take a look at that and really think about it, and that's something you could do with your health coach or just you personally, and really give it some deeper thought, because that's really going to help us propel us to make those right decisions when we're exposed to the things that we don't want.
It's such an important piece, Sherry, and in identifying what are our habits and then making that goal, and writing it down, using these, using our tools. I think one of the things many of us, let me know whoever's on the call who would agree with me here, one of the things many of us who deal with emotional eating issues or food addiction issues is it's a very isolating condition. We go into hiding. And one of the pieces that I personally find the most beneficial as a client, and that I love to be able to share that I'm in this with you as a coach, is leaning on my health coach, is getting out of that isolating pattern and recognizing if I say it out loud, just like you were saying, Sherry, to make a goal, the fact that Sherry's my coach, in case you guys didn't know that, the fact that I know Sherry is every couple of days texting me, how's it going? What can I do to support you? Or if she knows there are certain things that were happening, how are you handling that? How is your personal program going, dealing with X, Y, and Z? My father was just very ill over the last summer. It was a very, very stressful time for me. And my drug of choice is food. And Sherry knew to reach out to me, how are you doing? Are you taking care of you? Are you going for a walk? What I'm finding really helps me deal with stress is reaching out to my health coach, having situations like this where we're building community. I love Sasha and Alex's recommendation to journal, to that kinesthetic, piece. I also find I need to move. I need to go outside and walk, not be sitting in this chair or sitting on a couch, whether it's just taking my dog for a walk or meeting, a friend or a family member for a walk. Getting out and moving. It doesn't have to be formal exercise. It helps me de-stress and clear my mind a little bit.
Actually,
how do you guys organize, your life around what matters most? What can you do to overcome that isolating factor?
Can I just say something?
Please, this is interactive.
I also go through that emotional type of eating, and I try very hard at those times to kind of play like a psychological conversation in my head with what am I doing and why am I doing it. But I've had a lot of difficulty with if I made one, I don't even want to say mistake, but if I did something that was not exactly on program, I tended to beat myself up and blow the rest of the day, so to speak. And one of the things that's helped, and actually going back to the journaling, is that my amazing coach, who could put a smile on her face, told me to, like, at the end of the day, just write down one thing that I did that was positive. And that has helped me remember that there were so many good things during the day, and kind of doing that on a daily basis helps me get through that when it happens, that moment in time where I did something that was not exactly on program, or I ate a little bit too much of something that I, was supposed to eat. Going back to that kind of reminds me, saying, you don't have to beat yourself up. You're doing, get back on track, and there are so many good things in your day, and positive things, and positive, habits that I've changed over the time that I've been on program, that it's just, I have found that to be really, really very helpful, even if it's just one sentence at the end of the day.
Right.
I love that, Miriam. Fantastic. And yay to your fantastic health coach.
Yes, she is.
We're so quick to beat ourselves up, and I love what you said. Praise yourself for everything you've done right in the day. Love yourself and think yourself worthy of that love, and worthy of really not beating yourself up, but recognizing your value. If we don't value ourselves, if we don't feel worthy of taking care of ourselves, how likely are we to really focus on these habits?
Right. True.
That's great. Excellent.
I think the next part of also chapter 2 or in the workbook also talks about visualizing optimal health. And that's something that a lot of us don't think that we could achieve when we're first starting out. It seems so on the other side. As we're making our way over there, as we see that things are starting to happen, that we see that things are, scales within the range where we want it to be, or just from the beginning. I think it really helps to visualize ourselves. What are we going to feel like when we're at that desired goal? What are we going to look like? Is there something that we'd like to do? Let's say, I'm in California, so let's say maybe I want to try surfing, and I never thought of doing that, before, whatever, something that you can visualize and just kind of close your eyes and visualize yourself doing that particular exercise or an event, even if it's fitting into a dress size or a certain outfit or certain something that you want to do. When you're in that moment, and close your eyes, and if you just try to do that on your own, if everyone wants to try it for just do it for a minute, just close your eyes and visualize yourself where you'd like to see yourself. It's a very Kim Fisk moment. Just for a minute. Okay, seems like everybody is smiling. You should see yourself. And we've done, we were at one of the events we had for Take Shape for Life where we were trying to do a certain exercise that we didn't think we were able to do. And when we visualized it, we were actually able to complete it. And it's not something we can, maybe I could bring that, something we could actually do here. We can introduce that idea. It is amazing. I was thinking that's like a bunch of hogwash. That sounds all, wishy-washy and touchy-feely and all that. But when you experience that, you are actually literally amazed that you can really be there when you imagine yourself at that moment and when you're there. And it really helps us get to where we want to be. And, I'm not going to ask anyone where they want to be. That's all their, personal thing if they want to discuss with their coach. But it can be very helpful when we're dreaming where we want to be, whatever it is. I think it's pretty, it could be very strong. It can be very helpful. I know, Malki, you had a great motivational saying if we want to try to wrap this up with. Or if you had something else.
Will it let me share the screen share?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if this pops up. Your present situation is not your final destination. The best is yet to come. And I love the flowers. I love the sun gleaming in the background there. And this is just, I think it builds on what you were just sharing with us, Sherry. And that's very much that.
I don't think it's on the screen, by the way.
Oh, you guys don't see it? Hold on, let me try again. I'm sorry. Thank you for telling me that.
I was imagining it.
You were imagining it. I wish it was there. Do you see it now?
There.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I know, I always, because I've never been an athlete. I've never been someone who ever pushed herself physically, when I was younger. My husband, God bless him, saw something beautiful that my daughter and I could participate in. And I used to look at this hill, and it was a biking event. It was very, very challenging physically, but it was even more challenging mentally. And it wasn't until, like Sherry said, that I saw myself at the top of that mountain. I saw myself completing these rides successfully and believing that I could do it, that then it came to fruition. And it's a very powerful message. The best is yet to come. Where we are today is not our final destination. For every day that we're given the gift of life and that we can continue to take deep breaths and we can continue to join together, in this community, one habit at a time, know that the best is yet to come. Each day is going to get better. Each day is going to get easier. Habits take time. We didn't become who we are. We didn't get so ingrained in the habits that we have overnight. We can't change them overnight. But if we make a commitment, today I'm going to make sure I do this. And I'm going to continue to do it and have my health coach hold me accountable to ask me tomorrow, give me a text message. Did you do your 1 push-up yesterday? Did you drink? I love my clients who text me at the end of the day, 100 ounces water, done. Because that's what they were working on that day or that week. And I can cheer them on and say, yay you, one day at a time. The best is yet to come. And we really look forward in continuing to move through. This was very much the power of habits, this chapter. Next week is harnessing the habits of disease, team unhealthy behaviors that no longer serve your best interest while building habits of health. That's chapter 3 of the workbook. And it's our honor to share this 30 minutes or so with you on Tuesday evenings.
Anybody has any questions? I know, thank you, Malka, by the way, that was beautiful. Really. One of the questions that was asked last week was having the cold weather and how that brings much more emotionally attaching types of food items. And as we were talking earlier, I think those comfort foods is probably going to be something different for each person in the room, whether it's something we learned ourselves or where our parents, raised us with that. And it's funny because when you both brought that up last week, I was laughing because it was really hot here last week when you mentioned it. But today we're having actually a cold rainy day, so now I can relate. I'm wearing my jacket in my house. I have to close the windows. And my immediate go-to was making a really warm, nice, yummy, warm pot of vegetable soup for my daughter to come home to. And she was very happy to have that. And obviously vegetable soups don't have to be all about, heavy creams and, lots of oils. It could be just a pureed broccoli, cauliflower, all around vegetable soup. We can add, obviously, some type of almond milk if you want to make it a little creamier. And to have it ready, make it the night before or have it ready in the fridge and put it on in the morning so that when you come home, you have that go-to soup that you're not going to start looking through the things you're not supposed to, because it's all about being prepared and having it simple, just to make it portable and easy and simple. And then when you're doing the vegetable soup, just being aware how much you're having, if that's going to be part of your lean and green. Another idea that is not necessarily part of your lean and green, that could be a condiment, would be having some broth ready. And that could, also be something that you could have ready to do. It's something you can take, if you feel that you need to have it in your office with one of those cute little mini crock pots. Or just having it ready when you come into the house. Some of the ideas that people were saying that their go-to foods were pasta or potatoes. And so now we do have potatoes. We have garlic mashed potatoes, and we do have sour cream. I actually find I'm using them a little bit more now that it's wintertime. So I understand that that's a helpful item. And you can make that into a potato pancake. You can make it into a potato knish, even in a little baby cake maker. That's also helpful. And we do have the baked ziti marinara, so that really hit home, I think, with a lot of people having something like that with the little zitis in it. Even something like the sloppy joes. That's also more of a cold weather type of food item, and maybe adding a little bit of tomatoes to it or something more soupy like. And even, we do have our hot cocoa and our cappuccino items like that. And then even more so, obviously, when we're colder in the wintertime, I would suggest, I just talked about this with somebody, about having oatmeal. It's a little bit more filling than a lot of the other items. And that could really make the difference between filling you up a lot more. And, you know, cozy food in general, I mean, like, I don't know, I think, you know, probably somebody might say, like, when you feel like having something, maybe that's a good time to take a walk around the block. You know, just kind of get out if you can, if it's the weather allowing. Something hits you, try to create a new habit around what that comfort food would be, right? Oh, we were talking about there is a sugar-free cider mix that I believe is available. I'm just going to turn the light on here because it's getting dark. The sugar-free apple cider mix that really, really is like hits the spot in the wintertime. And that's a really nice, cozy thing you could have. You don't have to have the whole packet. It's pretty potent. And that's a really nice, I would say that really epitomizes comfort, you know, a nice apple cider. You know, depending on what your comfort food is. So I hope that's helpful. Like, we can write that up, maybe part of like a pre-Thanksgiving, you know, or talk about it then as well. So thank you very, very much for coming. We really appreciate everyone's participation. We're really enjoying making this health community with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a great week, everybody.
See you next week.
See you next week. Bye-bye.